Hi, YouTube. For everybody that doesn't know me, I'm Mike. I live in New York City, as you can kind of tell up here, but as you'll probably hear as we start this very first vlog of mine on what is probably going to be the craziest but coolest journey of my life. Several years ago, I had in my mind this thought that I really wanted to take my inner passion, which I know so many people here on this channel have, and start writing and music and actually start to make my own actual album. This is something I delayed for years just because of my own professional life and my wants and my desires, but this was something that I felt I needed to do, and I wanted to be in a space to say that I could put a wholehearted effort into this and put my all into it, because I put my all into my everyday life and my job, my relationship with those people that I love, the relationship that I have with myself, and realistically, the relationship that I have with my dreams and goals. I always remember when Matthew McConaughey had the three things that he was after. That he was looking for someone to look up to, someone to chase, and then he was always looking for, that version of himself that was in 5 years. I probably screwed that up, but you gotta level with me a little bit. So when I've been looking for these things in life, I knew that it always came back to music. Music was probably my first and biggest passion in life. The first record that I can actually remember myself having any memory of was Billy Joel's Uptown Girl, when I was like 2, maybe 3 years old. And I know that's like you're saying, how does someone remember something at that point in time? But it's one of those things where I was traveling with my mom and my sister to where my mom worked out when we were as a kid, and it was something that we played all the time, back when there was cassette days. I hope that doesn't tell you something maybe about how old I am, but that doesn't matter, right? This is music. This is your own journey, your own purpose, your own life. When I started to think about making my own record and putting in the pieces of what was actually going to get me to be in a spot where I was probably most happy with what made me feel alive and I thought would make other people feel alive, it kind of came down to a couple of factors. Number one, as you can tell, voice is a little monotone, so I hope I don't put you to sleep at all. But my primary way that I'm probably going to do most of my vocals on any of my tracks is rapping. I come from a music background, more so from having worked within the industry at one point, but also with having a good and kind of rudimentary understanding of what it takes to write punchlines, from being a social media copywriter, and being just more so a hip-hop lover since I can remember from wherever. I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts, which most people would say where the Basketball Hall of Fame is, and in several respects that's kind of the biggest thing from Springfield, but at the same time, my influences kind of came from my home area when we developed a hip-hop station when I was in like 7th grade. Shout out to Hot 97, shout out to Kid Fresh, Linda Reynolds, DJ Big Man, Tell 'Em Why You Mad. That was something every day that you couldn't miss. But when we first got our own dedicated hip-hop station outside of adult AC and Top 40, it was one of those things that just started and jump-started my love for what all of this was going to be for me. I have so many fond memories that are tied directly to music. I remember points in time from where I was and what I was listening to and what I was feeling and what I remember at that time. I'll say, oh, that record came out in such and such time. It's like, oh, Jennifer Lopez and LL Cool J, All I Have, that came out my sophomore year of high school. So there are things that like I always tie to where I was and what I was feeling. I think a lot of that goes towards both where I was at a young age, but also when I moved to New York. I've lived in New York for 8.5 years, and I'm just kind of in this space where I've been very lucky to kind of make it in this concrete jungle in a lot of ways. But at the same time, I'm striving for so much more, and to find what I want with my own personal and professional life, and that's derived from just the interaction that I have with music and how I deliver that to people, whether that's out at an event, a party, or hell, even a wedding, even though I don't go to many of those anymore. But it's being able to be on the dance floor and showcase, some of my moves. Yes, I can dance, and you will see all of my moves at some point in time. But it's also a reflection on, who I am and what I bring to the table, and what enables me to do my job best because of the influences that I have. But at the same time, put together kind of a like an overview of just my essence and my being, because it's derived so much from my musical influences and the way I dress, the way I talk, the way I interact with people, and try to make them create a memory about me, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what we want people to think of us. Think of a fond memory, have something that's creative and creates longevity with us. So with that in mind, I take all those things that I feel and all the situations that I put myself in, and the things that just come to me in life naturally. Of course, everybody wants to write and talk about a relationship or a situation that they've been in, but I think there's a lot of times that when you're in a situation and sometimes it doesn't go your way, you have to start thinking to yourself, okay, well, maybe this isn't the way it's supposed to go. But for someone like myself, who's always a goal chaser and been after just a variety of different achievements in life, relationships, and a successful relationships is one of them. So when you can't have it, or can't be in a space where that you can have something where you're thinking and living and being with someone all the time, I think it's something that frustrates me. Not like in a negative way where people go crazy and you're having to say, oh my God, we got to get this person off the stage, get this person out of the way, get them out of my city. But just kind of one of those ways where you don't understand and you want more so to get a better picture of what exactly you did wrong, or better understand what somebody else did right. And I'm kind of one of those people that's always driving for perfection, and I want to understand it and want to see where even if there was failure, like where can I be better? But sometimes when you can't understand why you can't be better, I think that's you just kind of get this mentality that you want to get something back, or sometimes get back at someone, which I know is not positive, and I don't recommend that. But it's just one of those feelings that you have as you kind of go into things. So I'm actually started creating a record a couple years ago called Heartbroken Assassin, which I know is like a different name for somebody's debut album, and you think it would kind of be like more of a harder edge, or something that's a little more how would I say it? Something that's a little more rougher, but at the same time, like my influences definitely come from a lot of urban pop as well as rap that, kind of want to make this more of kind of an upbeat and dancey feel. So maybe there's a little swag in the record, maybe there's a little regret, but I think that you'll see what we've got going when I start to actually show you guys things. That's going to be something that'll come up kind of soon. My first day in the studio was a couple days ago. I did a lot of follow-ups last night, writing a couple other verses and doing some vocal rough cuts, just kind of recording here. That's what I love about, just music today and just technology, because I don't have to always be at the studio all the time. FYI, that can cost money over the long run. But in the same time, start to, make and put pieces together on your own and get feedback. And what's cool about, this process with me is it's not just something that it's not something that I just found somebody randomly. Like the really cool thing about the team I'm working with here is my buddy John, aka Nova. I know he's gone by many other names, but he'll always be Nova to me. I told him about it, and he said, bro, let's get this going, let's get this together, let's make it happen. And he and I have kind of reconnected. I haven't actually seen him in like 7 years until this point, but there's just some people that you always keep in contact with and you don't necessarily always see. So when the path brings you back together, it's just kind of one of those amazing things. And he brought me to his producer friend, Jovi. Jovi's done a lot of work for Nova in the past, and just from being in kind of like a sound session that we had about 2 weeks ago to kind of talk about how we were going to progress with this, and then be in the studio the other day. I think Jovi's awesome, just from a limited time of working together. Kind of when you see that he's like a teacher in the sense that he's like, we're going to get you that where you need to go, but at the same time, it's also going to be one of those situations where you're, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to tell you where you're wrong. I'm going to make you do things again and again and again till I feel that you get it right and that you kind of just have a better better lay of the land for how this record needs to be done and what I want to achieve for you. And I thought that was really awesome. You don't really get something from somebody all the time. They just think that, oh, we go in and we make something hot and then that's it. But this is actually more of a challenge for me. When I was doing a lot of the rewriting and kind of doing the rough cuts last night, that took hours. So I know that this process is going to be long and a little arduous at times, but this is something that I just feel in my bones. And it took me so long from just having the inspiration to actually do it to get it together and finally make it happen. I definitely needed this in my life, and I felt like this was the timing to do it. When you don't have a lot of attachments necessarily and you can just go full bore into it, this is what makes makes for a lot of interesting recordings and a lot of awesome music at the same time. But knowing I have to balance this with my career, my other obligations, but I want to do this right. I want to make this happen. I want to be possible in every sort of way, as this is kind of what I'm after and what I'm doing. So I created this vlog. I'm calling it The Process. So I am going to share music and other parts of playlists on my YouTube page here, but at the same time, I'm also going to keep you guys informed and just talk to you regularly about what's been happening and how I'm feeling, the direction that we've been going in, some of the challenges I've been foreseeing, some of my breakthroughs, because I want this to be collaborative. I want people to know and understand and have a better insight into what the process actually is without just having to see what the final product is all the time. Because just like anything else, we want to share in everything with one another. We want to know what more the inputs is as we get towards the final product. So with that in mind, here we are. Welcome to The Process. Love, light, and progress, as my friend Liza would say. So much love and thank you for watching. There will be more of these. I will give you music as soon as I can, but I just want you to know and understand me as a person. I'll kind of talk a little bit more about each of the tracks as they come out, give you guys a little insight into what we're looking to make happen here. So Day 2 in the studio is this Tuesday night. We'll see what good stuff comes out of it. I've already gotten some really good feedback on what I put together just last night. So looking forward to bringing that into the studio and having a better edge, hopefully, the second time around. A lot of learning curves because I haven't been in the studio much at all, but at the same time, there's a lot of growth that I'm having to do everywhere to make this, what I want it to be and what I hope it can be. So thank you for sharing this with me, and thank you for being here with me. Let's make this great. Let's make this together. Take care until we talk soon. Peace.